President, distinguished President, Excellencies. Recent month, the situation in Myanmar has evolved from a political crisis to a multidimensional human rights catastrophe. Suffering and violence throughout the country are devastating prospects for sustainable development and raise the possibility of state failure or a broader civil war. And what began as a coup by the Myanmar military has rapidly morphed into an attack against the civilian population that has become increasingly widespread and systematic. Nearly 900 people have been killed. Some 200,000 people have been forced to flee their homes as a result of violent military raids on neighborhoods and villages. The World Food Programme estimates that over 6 million people are severely in need of food aid. UNDP forecast that nearly half the population could be forced into poverty by early 2022. A void has been opened for the most harmful and criminal forms of illicit economy to flourish. Since the 1st of February, at least 240 attacks on healthcare facilities, medical personnel, ambulances, and patients have been seriously disabled, COVID-19 testing, treatment, and vaccination. Meanwhile, mass displacement and continued protests heighten the risk of contagion. The coup has exacerbated a number of long-running conflicts in Myanmar's borderlands. Fighting has resumed in Kachin, Kayin, and northern Shan states, as well as other areas such as Chin and Kaya states that have been largely peaceful in recent years. Military forces have repeatedly conducted indiscriminate airstrikes and artillery shelling, killing civilians, displacing tens of thousands of people, and destroying protected civilian structures such as schools and places of worship. Thousands of people have sought refuge in neighboring countries. Laws have been instrumentalized to stifle freedom of expression, curb independent media as well as social media, and arbitrarily detain at least 5,200 people. Over 90 journalists have been arrested, and 8 major media outlets have been closed. We have also received multiple reports of enforced disappearances, brutal torture and death in custody, and the arrest of relatives or children in lieu of the person being sought. Despite these levels of repression, the military leadership has not been successfully secure control of Myanmar, nor the international recognition it seeks. On the contrary, its brutal tactics have triggered a national uprising that has changed the political equation. The country continues peaceful protests despite the massive use of lethal force against them, including heavy weaponry. A civil disobedience movement has brought many military-controlled government structures to a standstill. But despair is rising. Some people in many parts of Myanmar have taken up arms and formed self-protection groups. These newly formed armed opposition groups have launched attacks in several locations to which the security forces have responded with disproportionate force. As the 2019 review of the UN action in Myanmar by Gert Rosenthal made clear, the United Nations and its principal organs must not fail the country and its people a second time. It is incumbent of the international community to stand united in pressuring the military to halt its continuing attacks on the people of Myanmar and return the country to democracy, reflecting the clear will of the people. While a political process is needed, ultimate accountability cannot be avoided. Continued impunity will only undermine any future democracy, reconciliation, sustainable development, or progress towards stability and peace. Any future democratic government in Myanmar must have the authority to exercise effective civilian control over the military. The international community should build upon the range of international accountability mechanisms already engaged until transitional justice measures also become genuinely possible at the national level.